wrapped up in my sleeping bag, looking out the window at Aaron's house as the sun is beginning to creep over the horizon. And the trees are silhouetted black against the emerging blue sky with the fading stars up in the sky. And I think to myself how much I hate Aaron because he's got it fucking made with this fantastic house of his, this nice little piece of property tucked away out in the backwoods of South Dakota. God, I fucking hate him. I hope he dies. I hope he dies of syphilis. You piece of shit.
This is a resource video for Myron Books. I'm sorry, Myron Gaines' book that is coming out. It's probably out by now, called Why Women Deserve Even Less, of which I've been enlisted to help him with some math and numbers and some research and editing. I did an original video to this, and the whole point was to estimate the percentage of American women that were on OnlyFans. And the conventional wisdom that it was between 10 and 14%, if you remember that from about 4, maybe 3 years ago. And I'm like, that seems awfully high. I said, let me run the numbers again, which I did. However, two things happened. One, I don't screw up, just so you know. The Census Bureau has a very poorly labeled spreadsheet that I use to estimate the female population. And it was not the percent of the female population that was by age cohort. It was a percent of the total population. So the number I came up with is off by half, which we will correct later on in the math here. And then a bunch of people did make some very good points that I hadn't thought of. It is also that I am old and a boomer, and I did not realize that there were so many other sites to OnlyFans. So let's go through the original math. We'll go to the update, and you'll see actually it didn't really change much in the end. So understand what we are trying to figure out is not what percent of American women are on OnlyFans. Let's just be honest about it. We're only interested in the women we want to have sex with as it pertains to dating, courtship, marriage, and all that. I'm sure there's a 98-year-old lady, maybe, I hope not, but I mean, God bless you if you are on OnlyFans. That's not what we're interested in. And so what I did is I set out to figure out the percentage of 18 to 34-year-old women that of the total U.S. population that is on OnlyFans. I went up to 34 because look, oh, they're old and you can't fuck them. It's over when they're 30. No, that's not true. But I am looking at it more in terms of marriageable range and can they safely have kids. So I'm trying to be a little bit more scientific and empirical and intellectually honest. It is also a calculation that focuses on one country because, as you may know, OnlyFans is not relegated to the United States. I believe it's based here, but I guess anyone could sign up for it. So you have to look at the percent of the American population. So we have to find out what percent of OnlyFans creators are American, or if we want to do any other country. So surprisingly, all this data is here. There's a little bit of weakness in one of the data points we'll get you to later. But here's how it breaks down. There's 4.2 million content creators on OnlyFans, of which only 70% are women. That leaves you with 2.933 million women on OnlyFans. The percentage of those, however, that are in the United States, remember, we want a baseline. We can't take global content creators compared to the U.S. female population. That's not fair. They say it's between 66 and 70%. I just took it right down the middle. 68.5% are what they call North American. That includes Canada and Mexico. We'll get to that later. Of the 2.933 million American women, we multiply that times 0.685. You get 2.009 million women in America. American women are on OnlyFans. So just roughly 2 million women are content creators on OnlyFans. They are American women. Now, what percent of the OnlyFans content creators fit that age range? They have those statistics. Those statistics exist. And the 18 to 24 age cohort is 26.11%, and the 25 to 34-year-old cohort is 36.16%. I'm impressed they have it down to 2 decimals. When we add those two groups together, unsurprisingly, they account for the majority of women on OnlyFans. That is 62% of the women on OnlyFans are between the ages of 18 and 34. So we have 2 million and change American women on OnlyFans. 62% of them are the age range that anyone's really interested in. That brings us down to 1.25 million American women between the ages of 18 and 34 are on OnlyFans. Now, where I screwed up is I took the what would it be? The wrong numbers from the right column, the mislabeled column, and I only counted for half the population. So there are 38. When we double my number, we get 38.5 million American women between the ages of 18 to 34. So you have 1.25 million American women. They are on OnlyFans between the ages of 18 and 34. There are 38 million 0.5 American women of that age range in the total population. If we divide the 1.25 by the 38.5, we get 3.12. Let me double check it while we're here, so I don't have to do this a third time. Pull up my calculator. 1.25 divided by 38.5, 3.2. There it is, 3.2. The numbers are good. So right now in the United States, you want to know how many women are on OnlyFans? As a percentage of that age range, it's 3.2% of the population. Now, there were some points to be made by the people in the comment section. And by the way, thank you to the commenter who caught the math mistake that I made. A lot of you are making two main points, and that is that there are other platforms in addition to OnlyFans, which I knew. I just thought OnlyFans had like pretty much a total monopoly. Like they accounted for 90 or 80%. That is not the case, because you guys remember when OnlyFans had the brilliant idea that they were not going to allow nudity anymore? Do you remember that? I forgot about that, and I remember that. I'm like, oh, yeah. And Fansly moved right in, and they took a pretty serious chunk of OnlyFans business. Fansly, they estimate to have 2 million creators, which is roughly 50% more than the amount of creators that OnlyFans has, actually 48% more. So if we adjust for that and saying, okay, we are no longer really concerned about OnlyFans, what we're mainly concerned about, what percent of the dateable age female population in the United States is engaged in some kind of digital digital prostitution. I think we can use that word. Not real. There's a difference. That's what we're looking at. And when we account for that, just this one platform, by the way, just accounting for Fansly, we're back up to 4.6%, which is kind of the ballpark that I was in before. Other people have made the point there are other platforms. Based on my research, they're not as big as Fansly, so it's kind of a duopolistic market. You got Fansly and OnlyFans. There is Just for Fans. People also pointed out that Patreon and other platforms that allow fans to get money but are not explicitly pornographic. They're like, oh no, you could do this, and they have these platforms, and I'm sure there is. But instead of going through all of it, all I wanted to do was let's just account for Fansly because that's the largest one. That's putting us at just shy of 5%. 1 in 20 again, which was the point I made in my previous video, which I'll leave up if you want to look at the math on that one. And what we have is 5. This is our lowest possible number. It's very likely higher than that when we factor in all the other platforms and girls and because like, what am I supposed to do? Go through Patreon and figure out what percent are girls showing their butthole? I don't have the time for it. But we can pretty much safely say that at the low end, we're still looking at 5%. of the percentage of the female population between these ages that are monetizing digital pornography. Okay, that's the spirit of what we're trying to get in the research. The second thing many of you pointed out is that this does not account for all the women that have deleted their profiles, where they had an account one time and they deleted them. And I'm like, I'm very old. And that would be a moving target because let's say I believe OnlyFans has been around since 2016, so that's coming up on 10 years. Someone who was 28 back then no longer fits into the age demographic. However, there is some overlap, no doubt, that women who had an account, say 5 years ago, are still in that same age range as we are now. What that is, I wish Fred was still alive to do his actuarial magic, but he's not. Again, it is very likely higher than 5. It's only adding up. 5 is the bottom number. It's only going up from there. And then the other point related to this is one that I want to make for intellectual honesty. What percentage of women are on OnlyFans are also on Fansly, Patreon, whatever else have you? So that would actually lower the number, but I'm gonna doubt it's gonna lower it by that much, unless somebody else wants to really do a lot of mathematical analysis on this. But yes, and I'd imagine there's a lot of turnover over at these websites, whether it's Fansly or OnlyFans. Gosh, if you ask me if you went back 5 years, how many women are on the same? I bet you it'd be less than 25%. I think there'd probably be a near 100% turnover every 5 years, perhaps every decade. Certainly as people maybe age out of it. But the point does stand that this does not account for the women who had accounts and deleted it and are still in the same age range. And we should maybe just lower it just a little bit to account for the fact that some of these women, no doubt, have accounts at multiple platforms. And so those numbers should be backed out. But as best we could, and we've done a hell of a lot better job, I think, than that 10 and 14% number that was run. We're still roughly at about 5%, 1 in 20. There you go. Look for Myron Gaines' book, Why Women Deserve Even Less, the sequel to Why Women Deserve Less. If you have not read Why Women Deserve Less, you're probably going to read through that first, because when we're outlining and going through it, he decided to go with more of an update than a redo. He's not going to rewrite. This is an update. So it's all new material, but it would help you to familiarize yourself with that book if you have not read it before. Also linked below is my book. If you like these type of numbers and statistics, it would behoove you to go and get my book, The Book of Numbers Analyzing the ROI in the Pursuit of Women, which is chock full of data and statistics about your statistical chances of being happily married or with someone and all that other stuff. And all the actionable items and advice that you can take based on math and statistics. All right. I fixed myself. That's it. There are no super chats. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.